right, we are live. Probably going to be a quiet night before Christmas Eve.
Yeah. I think last year when we did this, I remember the New Year's live was one of the liveliest ones though, right?
Um, yeah, yeah. New Year's was New Year's Day. I think New Year's Day fell on Wednesday last year because it's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Thursday this year. So yeah, a bunch of people were coming out for New Year's, and I mean that's the time of year. Everybody's setting new goals and wanting to start new things. So I mean, but hey, it's not about just it's about sticking with it, all year long.
Yeah, it's I made the post in the group the other day about just like I think the philosophy of starting things on the new year is what holds a lot of people back because it's nothing other than like psychological. It's just totally mental. And so when you have this mindset of like, I'm going to wait until X point, it doesn't do anything other than make you feel good because you're like starting fresh, quote unquote, because that's what society does. But I think realistically, like, I mean, 95% of those people that probably did that are probably not in this live stream right now. You know what I mean? And that's just the reality is like if you could stick with something, I mean, you're going to be ahead of 95% of people to begin with.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Got a couple people popping in on YouTube. What's going on? Still wins. Welcome, welcome,
What's
and
up, guys?
hello,
Welcome
boy.
in.
Welcome, guys. If you have any questions about anything related to Amazon, Amazon FBA, Amazon Wholesale, whatever it is, pop them in the chat. We'll answer your questions here.
Yeah, there were some things off of the YouTube channel for a couple of the recent videos. One of the questions that was asked there, which um, was, how does it work from the perspective of, right? Like, let's say you reach out to a brand and, you have to submit like an application of some sort. Like, why is that a lot of times brands will have you submit applications in order to receive the pricing information?
Um, yeah, so basically, the way the process works in Amazon Wholesale is you source the brand, you find a brand that meets winning product criteria, and then you contact that brand. And if you're able to get what's called a wholesale account with the brand, they're going to send you an application sometimes where you have to fill out your information, business information, EIN, resale permit number, um, billing info, shipping info, just to legitimize yourself with the supplier. They're going to require that information on file, most of them, whether it's a distributor or a brand. And then at that point, they would send you a price sheet, and you'd be able to review that price sheet and compare it to what the products are selling on Amazon and see if the stuff is profitable to place an order.
Yeah. I mean, there's also some like, totally normal process for a brand to do that, but I mean, there definitely are some red flags, at least in my opinion, when you're filling out those sorts of applications that we recommend to kind of stay away from. Like, if brands are asking you for like your social security number, it's a little bit like, that's pretty uncommon. If they're asking you for, what are some other types of things that you could think of off the top of your head? I mean, as far as like, things that you're just like, "Ah, I don't know if I should give that to the brand right off the rip." Do you think of anything else?
I mean, maybe like financial information, like related to
Yeah,
business. You don't really
mhm.
need to be giving that up right away. But
Tax returns, like, yeah, I mean, anything is
stuff like
defensible,
that,
but
I mean, I would say the vast majority, though, is pretty general standard information. Billing, shipping info, EIN, all that's going to be general. If you
yeah,
can, try to get the price list before you have to fill out an application, because the worst part is you go through the whole application process and then you get a price list and maybe nothing's profitable, right?
yep, yeah, exactly,
So
exactly.
So thanks for watching, man. From Pakistan, been following the content for the past 2 months. Glad you're enjoying it. Um, Still wins got a question here regarding sourcing through online arbitrage. How are you guys getting past the phone number verification sent when creating an account to make multiple orders to utilize the new account discount Vita cost?
Yeah, that's a hell of a question. So, I mean, we are not your guys for being experts in online arbitrage, right? Let's just say that right off the rip. As far as like from my limited knowledge of OA, um, everything like about online arbitrage is about like getting those orders fulfilled and not getting them canceled and everything. So, um, I know that there are various websites to make like burner emails and burner phone numbers and things like that. Um, as well as you can even do gift cards. I forget what the name of it is. The website for I'm sorry, not gift cards, credit cards, where you put in your credit card. It'll give you like a burner one basically to use like a virtual card number. So there's all sorts of like virtual websites that'll let you do that. That being said, like that's not our area. We are not the guys to go to for answers there. Um, but actually, we have someone answer that question in the chat. I don't know, Brad, you want to bring that up at the bottom there? Nikki off of Twitter. Oh, privacy.com. That's exactly what I was talking about, Nikki. Yeah. Yep. Text now or similar service.
What's up,
Cool.
Nick? How you doing, bro? We were saw him in Miami. Hope everything's well, man.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Privacy.com. Yep.
Yeah, and so yeah, like he said, we go back up to this here. Guys, I mean, wholesale, like a lot of we're going into the new year now, and we're seeing a lot of online arbitrage sellers trying to shift into wholesale or maybe incorporate wholesale into their business model, right? So do a little bit of arbitrage, do a little bit of wholesale, and that's definitely a good starting point. And somewhere I would recommend is splitting it between both and then transitioning everything over to wholesale once you've, kind of bridged that gap. But any like pieces of advice for maybe maybe like top piece of advice for an online arbitrage seller who's looking to get into wholesale? And let me be very clear on wholesale is that we're talking about buying from authorized distributors or buying directly from the brand. So if you're going to transition from arbitrage to wholesale and you're going to be still unauthorized to sell the brand's products on Amazon and you're going to buy from generic wholesalers and just sort of suppliers that you're not vetting, you may as well be doing online arbitrage. In fact, you're probably better doing online arbitrage. So a lot of people, they think wholesale, they just think buy in bulk, but you have to be very selective as to where you source your inventory. Mainly directly from the brand is the best way.
Yeah, exactly. And to kind of go off of what you were saying, right? It's like something for someone transitioning from an online arbitrage to a wholesale. It's a new process, right? So getting your feet wet is important. And I think that every arbitrage seller goes through this transition period where as long as you have your sights set on like I'm going to do wholesale, it's just about phasing it in until eventually your time becomes so valuable doing the outreach process and wholesale that you're like it's no longer worth it to stop, continue to source online arbitrage. One of the hardest things to do if you have a larger online arbitrage business or retail arbitrage business is to have that transitional period, because that's the thing with arbitrage is once you stop, it stops, right? Unless you have someone else finding these replenishables for you. Once you stop sourcing, that's it. The product stops coming in. So just be prepared for that, right? It's not going to last forever, but it happens to every arbitrage seller who's transitioning into wholesale.
Yeah, exactly. So question here from Low Boy on YouTube asking, when you fill that application and your sales tax is in your name, not the company name, is that an issue?
Yeah, so we're referring to like a sales tax permit, right? To get your goods tax free as a reseller. Um, as long as, I mean, it should be registered. If you're assuming you have a company, right, and then you are the owner of that company, it shouldn't be an issue at all. Or if you're filling it out as buying it as a sole proprietor and then selling the goods, I don't think it'll be a problem. I don't know. I don't think that'll be an issue at all. Would you
Yeah,
say so?
I don't think.
Because technically you don't need a business. You don't need an LLC. You don't need that. You could technically do it as a sole proprietor, right? So in that case, I mean, yeah, it shouldn't be a problem at all.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Any free ways to get past this reliably every time, websites or apps you guys like to use for this? Yeah, same kind of thing.
that was what Nikki had referenced from Twitter.
Yeah.
Took care of that.
Yep.
Planning to launch FBA wholesale business by February with a focus on early stage or emerging brands that currently have lower revenue. What do we think about that strategy?
I think that we were good up until the lower revenue part, right? So, I mean, you could definitely reach out to early stage or emerging brands or small brands, as we say, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they have small revenue, right? Because if you close the account, right, you want to be able to make sure that you're benefiting off of that. Having a lower revenue, specifically targeting a lower revenue brand, I think is just going to hurt you in the long run. And I think you got to get the reps in regardless. So I would go for brands that are worth your while, you know?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, and so Nikki is hitting the sauna right now. So it's got to hit the sauna. It's been a while since I've been in there.
Well, he said that's where he met you in the sauna too, right?
No, he said that he's hitting the sauna,
Oh, he's in the sauna.
but it's a pre-workout. So usually that's my post-workout. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
But yeah, I feel like I would be wiped if I hit the sauna then worked out.
I mean, it's probably really good for your like just warming up everything, blood flow and all that. I mean, it makes sense. I just feel like I'd be so tired. That's like my relief at the end, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you know if wholesale suppliers are authorized to sell those brands?
Yeah, so there's a pretty straightforward and strategic process that you want to take. So basically, the first step is the best way to verify the brand is to, or rather verify the distributor, is to um, go directly to the brand and ask for a list of authorized distributors, or explicitly ask, is this distributor authorized? And then if the brand tells you that they are authorized, then there you go. You've validated that wholesale supplier or distributor. Um, if you can't get a hold of the brand for whatever reason, or you can't contact the brand, then your next best bet is you're going to want to have an invoice for obviously all the goods that you purchased from that distributor. And two, you want to get some sort of documentation or proof of purchase showing that the distributor purchases directly from the brand, so that you are able to trace back the supply chain in the event you have an issue on Amazon for authentic goods, right? So the way to do that is, you have to ask that distributor for either an invoice showing proof of purchase between them and the brand, or redacted documentation of an agreement that they have with the brand stating that they purchase directly from them.
Yes, absolutely. What's up, John? Good to see you in here. John's asking, how do you guys like to end your rejection calls when you hear a no? It's a loaded question right there. John, end is the strong word that you used in that, because sometimes, I mean, right, Brad, like we're not ending the call sometimes.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's where the call starts, honestly, is like,
Hmm.
again, we go back to we talked about this in another video, right? When it comes to approaching brands, you want to ask them, why? Like, how, why are you resistant to Amazon? How are you handling Amazon? And based on how they respond to that is going to tell you how much you want to pursue that account. So if they're like kind of unsure in their tonality, or they don't really seem secure in their position, or sure about the fact that they're telling you no to Amazon, then that's where you want to dig deeper, ask those questions to really uncover what the real challenges are. Because most Amazon sellers, they just say thank you, goodbye, right? And that's
Yeah.
where, you know if you can get, I'll tell you, most brands are going to tell you no, right? You reach out to 100 brands, 97 of them are probably going to tell you, oh, no, right? It's a matter of asking the right questions in order to understand and unpack the situation so that the brand can start to spill their challenges that they've faced. And then you can come in and present yourself as the solution to all the problems that they've faced in the past.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And just to kind of give you an exact example, like John, yesterday I was finishing my Christmas shopping up. I had a thing of clothes in this hand, I had a bag in this hand, and I get a call back from a brand. And totally unprepared, not in front of my computer, don't have any information, right? So I pick up the phone, I hear what the brand name is, I Google the brand name, I pull it up on Amazon, I'm looking at the listing, right, in the middle of the store. And the person on the other end of the phone is asking me a little bit about, our company, all of that, and started kind of going into it, and I could tell it was clearly just going to be a rejection. And so it was a, hey, we don't accept the e-com, we're not doing Amazon sellers, like, sorry, right? So at that point it's exactly like what Brad said, is that you can either completely end the conversation like most people do, or you can choose that to be the point where the conversation starts. And so I started asking calibrated questions about how they were handling the e-commerce presence and what that looked like. And I basically wound up uncovering the fact that this person on the end of the phone was not the decision maker, right? And it was, oh, I'd have to bring that up to upper management. I'd have to talk to my boss about it, right? So if I said, okay, thanks, I would have never known that I had to go another layer deeper in terms of the communication. So one of, getting a direct email instead of a general email, got a direct email, and going to be following up, sending an email to try to get in touch with the right person, because that person could have a completely different perspective than the gatekeeper had. And I would never know that unless I was able to get to that point. So if you, to your point, hang up the phone as soon as you hear the rejection, you may never get that extra layer deep that you need to get.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. What's going on,
Yeah,
man?
what's up, Justin? I was just talking to
Welcome.
Justin over on Instagram.
Welcome. Good to have you. Pop any questions you have here in the chat box. We'll answer them. Low Boy is asking, why is buying on Alibaba a big mistake for Amazon sellers?
Yeah, well, I mean, we go back to supply chain legitimacy, right? I mean, I think it depends on what your business model is, and maybe if you're private labeling, it's a little bit different, right? Because you're making your own brand. But I mean, there's a whole host of issues associated with quality control, and Amazon doesn't really want that, right? Same thing with drop shipping, like unless it's directly from the manufacturer, but like they don't want things that are going to have a negative experience for the customers. The most plain and simple way I could put it.
Yeah. So, Low Boy, you're referring to the private label business model, and we don't speak in absolutes. So, I wouldn't say it's a big mistake to buy products on Alibaba. Alibaba is just a Chinese source where you can buy no-name products in order to create your own product and find a supplier that can do that, create the product for you. So, you go to Alibaba to find Chinese suppliers who can create various products. So it's not a big mistake to source from Alibaba, but it's a completely different business model than wholesale. Like, the clear distinction that we have to make here is that wholesale is, we're buying name brand products that customers already know, like, and trust. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just look at a chart, you see what's selling, and you buy accordingly to that chart. Whereas
Yep.
with private label, it's private label is a much more risky business model because you have to create a brand from complete scratch. You have to spend a ton of money on ads to promote it. You have to deal with global logistics and supply chain, and you have to drive awareness around that brand, not just on Amazon, but across multiple different platforms, right? If you really want to build a successful product and brand. And so the end results of private label and buying from Alibaba could be quite lucrative if you do it right, but it's a much higher risk. Reward could be high, but it takes a lot to really build a successful brand on your own. Whereas with wholesale, just come right in, you buy from brands that already have strong brand history, that already have products that are already selling. They already did all the sourcing, the marketing, the promotion. You just come in, you sell their products, and you help them grow on Amazon. But the point here is that the biggest thing here is that you are already jumping into the listing and selling right away, right? You don't have to wait, a long time to try to promote your products.
Yeah, I think the only big mistake for buying on Alibaba is when you're buying a product on Alibaba and then trying to sell it on Amazon as the legitimate price. You know what I mean? Because then you're completely just counterfeiting and knocking it off, right? Like that's something obviously you're going to get your account suspended in 2 seconds by doing that. Um, but yeah, to Brad's point, like if you're doing private label, absolutely, but be careful because you might see a product on Amazon that looks real great, and you might see the same exact thing on Alibaba, and you're thinking you can get it for a lot cheaper, and it's going to be a counterfeit product, and you're going to get your account shut down.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do you provide value to brands?
Yeah, this is my age-old saying here is value is subjective, right? So I think that we have to start in the discovery phase and spend a lot of time there, right? Understanding the prospect, because at the end of the day, you're selling yourself to the brand. And so understanding what the brand's pain points are shows you how to provide value. So if there's something where the brand is just completely like they could not care less at all about the listing pictures, then you're probably not going to go and pitch from the perspective of the listing, right? Maybe they care about a purchase order. You're going to pitch from the perspective of that, and that's going to be valuable to them. So it really all comes down to the discovery phase of everything. I think that's the most important area that you need to focus on to then determine how to provide value.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You can't, a lot of Amazon sellers, new Amazon sellers reaching out to brands, they do it in reverse, right? They just start pitching the value and they start dumping value propositions because they don't really know what to say. But the best way to structure it is to, like Brandon pointed out, is spend more time in that discovery phase and ask them a lot of questions so that they can do the talking, and then you listen strategically and come in with the solutions, right? The best salesperson is a listener,
Mhm.
and so that's very true in providing value to brands.
A lot of times too, these brands, and you'll see this as you talk to them in more volume, is that they don't get asked this stuff. You'll get into these conversations and the brand will be like, wow, I haven't really ever been talked to like this by an Amazon seller, right? And if you can come across different and differentiate yourself from everybody else reaching out through doing that and actually taking a vested interest, your account closure rate is going to be a lot higher.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, and it's not just in what you say, it's how you say it, the tonality,
Yeah.
so that's big in terms of building rapport and trust with the brand.
Yes, absolutely is. Another good question here off of YouTube says, why would a brand choose you to sell their items on Amazon when they can do it themselves?
Yeah, yeah. So basically, it's a good question. And the answer is, well, if the brand has the capabilities of doing and selling on Amazon themselves, and they're totally set up to do that, and that's no additional burden to them, then it's probably uh, better if the brand just does it themselves, right? But there are many brands out there, many brands out there that don't have the knowledge, the capabilities, the bandwidth, the manpower to handle their Amazon presence, from logistics to fulfillment to sales to shipping to marketing, everything, right? It's complicated. Dealing with Amazon's a full-time job, and a lot of these brands don't have that bandwidth. And so brands are then left with a couple choices, right? They are left with a few options. They can either hire people within their own company to bring it in internally. They can hire a third-party agency and pay them a fee to run their Amazon, or they can work with partners, reselling partners like us, and sell the inventory to the reselling partner, and then the reselling partner then sells that inventory, handles all the complications of Amazon, and reinvests back into the brand with the promotion and marketing, et cetera, right? That's what we focus on with our brands. It's what we teach our students, right, is brand partnership. And that's what is most lucrative in Amazon wholesale. It's the most consistent, the safest, and the most reliable income, because you have an agreement built out with the brand. And that's an agreement with monthly income that you can rely on for coming in every single month, year after year, because you've built this partnership with the brand. And that's what our business is based on. And like I said, it's what we teach our private clients as well in terms of running their businesses.
Yeah, and it's the equivalent of saying like, well, if you could sell the product on Amazon, why don't you just make the product? You know what I mean? It's just a totally different mindset. And so, keep in mind that it's not what the brands do. It's completely foreign to them. And so having an expert in that area like you and positioning yourself as an expert is going to free up their bandwidth to focus on more revenue driving tasks for their business, just like you're going to focus on more revenue driving tasks for your business.
Right. Yep. So Makitas is asking, I currently have 250 active SKUs. Do you recommend I start reaching out to each company?
Yeah, Justin, so it depends on what that looks like, right? If it's online arbitrage SKUs, chances are you're not going to be able to get in touch with most of those companies because if you're buying them online arbitrage, they're obviously large enough, to be selling at a discount so that people can resell them. If they're small to mid-sized brands, then maybe. But I think that it's a good place to maybe start, but I wouldn't get your hopes up in terms of closing those accounts if they're larger brands. You might be able to buy through distributors, but again, that's something through a different type of wholesale model. What we teach, the brand direct model, a lot more just like Brad said, safe, consistent, and reliable. We don't want to be doing, what Brad calls glorified arbitrage, where we're buying from unauthorized distributors or something like that. And you get into more of that territory when you start dealing with these larger brands. We want to be going to the brands directly. So we do have videos which we can absolutely link in here about sourcing and how to source. And I think that would be a good place to start for you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So usually we run these lives for about 30, 40 minutes. If you guys have any last minute questions here, pop them in the chat. We'll answer them. We also got a killer resource for you. It's the top objection handlers that we use to close our best brand direct wholesale accounts, completely free. So I'm going to go ahead and link that document in here in the comments as well.
Yeah, Brad, you could toss one of those sourcing videos as well. I'm not signed in here, so.
Yeah, so I just linked that document there. You guys check that out. It's just a nice little free resource for you. I think it's just going to ask for your email and be able to access that. It's like a 10 or 15 pager. And there's a good sourcing video for you, how to find profitable products. Low Boy's asking, so to find authorized suppliers of brands, the best thing to do is ask the brand for a list of authorized suppliers.
That's it. No better way than that. Unless you're buying from the brand directly, but which is obviously always the priority if you can, because you're able to have more of a relationship with them. It's tough to get a relationship going on anything more than a transactional basis with a distributor. But yeah, I mean, you hit it right on the head there if you're looking for authorized distributors.
Yeah, exactly. I've got a couple guys on Instagram joining. Marcelo Amazon, what's going on, man? Johan from our private mastermind is joining. What's going on, Johan? Good to have you in here.
What's up, guys? Thanks for joining. But what if they just ignore your email? Pretty common, huh? Rejection is more. I mean, that's the name of the game, man. You signed up for this.
You send another one, and then you call them until they answer, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. That's it. You got to have thick skin
go
for this
away.
business model.
You never go away. You just keep hounding them until it doesn't make sense anymore, right?
Right. Makes sense for you as the seller.
Yeah. You don't want to just continue to reach out when there's no opportunity there, right?
Right.
So yeah, good questions this week. Let's keep them coming, guys. We're going into the new year. Now is a great time if you're just starting or a beginner, jumping into this. This is Julio and Leanger. Oh boy.
Oh, what's up, guys?
What's up, guys? Cool. So yeah, guys, if you are transitioning, if you're a beginner jumping into this and you're ready to take it to the next level, transition to wholesale. I mean, we say do arbitrage, for some sellers, it makes sense, right? Use arbitrage as a stepping stone. But if you have $5,000, you are more than equipped to start straight away into wholesale, brand direct wholesale. And if you are an online arbitrage seller struggling at 5 to 10K a month, transition to wholesale. Start incorporating some of those. Start incorporating some strategies to build wholesale into your business model, because it's going to provide you with a consistent inventory. It's going to help you ungate products faster. You're not ever going to deal with ungating issues because you have direct invoices from the brand. You're not going to deal with account suspensions and shutdowns because you have direct access to the brand. And so if you guys are interested in working with us privately one-on-one to help scale your business to the next level, we'll go ahead and pop the link down here in the chat box, operationamz.com/start. Check us out there and see if you qualify.
Yeah, absolutely. And for anyone that is in this live as well, that is part of our mastermind, Johan, Julio, and I think a couple other people are in here. Please feel free to continue the conversation. Send us a DM. Let's talk directly with any other questions that you might have or anything you need clarified on that. I want to make sure you guys get priority and get everything, solved. There's the link for you guys.
Start.
Yep, absolutely. And in addition to that, I mean, it's December 23rd. So if you guys do celebrate, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and it's a great time of year to slow down a little bit and appreciate things. Like a lot of things may have happened this year where you're like, oh, this didn't go my way or this didn't go my way, right? I think it's a really good time of year to sit down and appreciate the things that did go your way. To reflect on the things, the positives, and to spend time with your friends and your family and be grateful for everything that you have. I think that's super important. And I'm trying my best to do that as well.
Yeah, exactly. Keep growing the business, but if you don't have family, health, and wealth, health is wealth, right? I mean, if you don't have all those other things, it's not as fulfilling.
That's it. So we will see you guys next week on the 30th. We have one more of these lives before the new year, and then we'll be kicking off the new year with a bang and really looking to scale in 2026. And we're super pumped for all you guys to be able to do that.
Yeah. And for the guys in the private mastermind that are on this live, like Brandon said, we got a loaded up calendar, for the rest of the week. So we'll see on the inside there. And for anybody else interested, links are in the description. We'll talk to you next time. Peace out.
See you guys.